The Vrexian warship tore through the diplomatic vessel's hull like paper. Alarms screamed through every corridor as atmosphere vented into the black. Queen Zilara of the Thandros Empire hit the deck hard, her four arms scrambling for purchase as gravity failed. "Get to the escape pods!" Commander Varin shouted, his scales flashing panic colors. Zelara's eyes found him across the chaos. Ethan, her human husband of 6 months, stood frozen near the viewport, watching 3 more warships decloak around them. His face showed nothing, no fear, no surprise. Just that same calm expression he wore when they first met at the peace summit. "Effin, move!" she screamed. The Vrexians were butchers. They'd rejected every treaty, every offer of peace. Now they'd found the Queen's transport in neutral space, and they weren't here to talk. The hull shrieked. Metal twisted. A secondary explosion sent bodies flying. Zalara's guards formed up around her, but she could see it in their eyes. They knew. Everyone knew. The Vrexians didn't take prisoners. They sent messages. Ethan still hadn't moved. "What are you doing?" Zalara shouted at him. "We have to go now." He turned to her then. His brown eyes met hers, and something in them made her freeze, something ancient and cold, and utterly foreign to the gentleman she'd married. "Zalara," he said quietly, his voice cutting through the chaos like a blade. "Get everyone to the aft section. Seal the bulkheads behind you. What? No? We leave together or... Trust me." He stepped toward the breach where Vrexian boarding pods were already latching onto the hull. "Please, just this once, don't ask questions." The first pod burst open. Vrexian shock troops poured through, their weapons already firing. Solara's guards returned fire, but they were outnumbered 5-1. Ethan walked toward them. "Ethan, stop!" Zalara screamed. He didn't stop. He rolled his shoulders like he was loosening up for morning exercise. Then he reached down and grabbed a piece of torn bulkhead. 300 pounds of reinforced titanium alloy. He lifted it with one hand. The Vrexians saw him. They laughed. One human against their entire strike team. They stopped laughing when Ethan threw the bulkhead through 4 of them like a missile. Zalara's breath caught. That wasn't possible. Humans were weak, fragile. She'd read every file on Earth's species. They were diplomats, scientists, artists. They joined the galactic community seeking knowledge and friendship. Ethan moved. She'd never seen anything move like that. He covered 15 feet in a blink, his fist connecting with a Vrexian's armored chest. The soldier didn't fly backward. He exploded, armor and bone and tissue painting the walls. "Oh, gods," Vryn whispered beside her. "What is he?" Ethan caught a plasma bolt with his bare hand. The energy sizzled and died against his palm. He crushed the rifle that fired it, then the Vrexian holding it. More troops poured through. Ethan smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. The second wave of Vrexian shock troops hesitated at the breach. Their comrades' remains dripped from the walls. Ethan stood in the center of the carnage, breathing steady, his wedding band glinting under the emergency lights. "Fall back!" the Vrexian squad leader barked. "Call for heavy." Ethan crossed the distance before the order finished. His elbow shattered the leader's helmet and everything inside it. He spun low, sweeping 3 soldiers off their feet, then brought his boot down on the nearest one's torso. The deck plating underneath crumpled from the impact. Zalara couldn't move, couldn't think. Her husband, the man who read poetry to her in the garden, who laughed at her terrible jokes, who held her gently like she might break, was dismantling trained killers with his bare hands. "Seal the bulkhead!" Vern shouted, grabbing Zalara's arm. "Now, my queen!" She didn't resist as her guards pulled her toward the aft section. Her eyes stayed locked on Ethan. He'd grabbed a Vrexian plasma rifle and was using it as a club, not firing it, just swinging it like a hammer, each impact sending armored bodies flying. The bulkhead doors began to close. Through the narrowing gap, Zalara saw Ethan look back at her. Blood splattered his face. None of it his. He nodded once. The doors sealed. What just happened? Vrin's voice shook. What in the name of the ancestors is he? Zalara's legs gave out. Her guards caught her. Through the thick metal, they heard it. Explosions, screaming, the high-pitched whine of plasma weapons firing in full automatic. Then, silence. The Vrexians have seized the forward section, her tactical officer reported, his voice hollow. The human is... He's what? Zalara demanded. He's killing all of them, my queen. The tactical display showed heat signatures. Dozens of Brexians pouring through multiple breach points. The priests and one human signature moving through them like a shark through fish. The Vrexian numbers dropped rapidly. Impossible, Vrian whispered. Our intelligence said humans were physically inferior, weak bone density, fragile musculature. They needed our protection to survive in galactic space. Zalara's mind raced back through 6 months of marriage. Ethan always careful with his strength around her, always gentle, always controlled. How? She'd thought it was respect for her station, cultural courtesy. It was restraint. The bulkhead shuddered. Something massive had hit it from the other side. They're trying to breach, a guard said, raising his weapon. No, Zalara said quietly. That's Ethan. Let him in. My queen, we can't risk. Open it. A god by Jesus Christ. Now. They obeyed. The door cracked open, and Ethan slipped through. He was covered head to toe in dark Vrexian blood. His clothes were shredded, but he wasn't wounded. Not a scratch. The doors sealed behind him. The boarding parties are neutralized, he said calmly, like he was reporting on the weather. But their warships are charging weapons. We have maybe 2 minutes before they glass this entire vessel. How did you... Zalara couldn't finish the question. Ethan met her eyes. I'm sorry you had to see that. I wanted to tell you. So many times. But Earth's government has strict protocols about... The ship shook violently, a warning shot across their bow. Explanations later, Ethan said. Right now, I need you to trust me. All of you. Get to the escape pods. Launch on my signal. What are you going to do? Zalara asked. He smiled that terrible smile again. What I was trained to do before I became a diplomat, which is close quarters combat specialist. First Wave Assault Division. Earth Defense Force, retired. He cracked his knuckles. Those warships think they're predators. They've never met a real predator. Viren laughed. It was a hysterical, disbelieving sound. You're one human. They have 3 capital warships, thousands of crew, military-grade shields and weapons. I know, Ethan said. Give me 5 minutes. He moved to the nearest airlock. Ethan, wait! Zalara grabbed his arm. His muscles felt like stone under her touch. You can't survive in vacuum. You'll die. He kissed her forehead gently, the same way he did every morning. I've got a suit built into my diplomatic clothes, military grade. And Zalara? His voice softened. Humans don't tell our allies everything. We learned that lesson a long time ago. After the wars that nearly destroyed us, we made a choice. We'd be diplomats to the galaxy, peacemakers, but we'd never forget what we really are underneath.
Which is? Survivors who got really, really good at violence.
He cycled the airlock and launched himself into space toward the nearest Phyrexian warship. Zalara watched through the viewport as his small figure crossed the black. The warships noticed him. Point defense cannons tracked his trajectory. They opened fire. Ethan dodged. In zero gravity. In vacuum. Moving faster than should be possible, the weapon's fire looked like it was moving in slow motion compared to him. He landed on the warship's hull. "Get to the pods," Zalara told her crew, her voice steady despite the madness. "We launch in 4 minutes. My queen, we can't just leave him." The Vrexian warship's lights flickered, then went dark. The Vrexian warship hung dead in space for exactly 8 seconds. Then it exploded from the inside out, not a weapon's detonation. Something had torn through its reactor core. Zellera's crew stared in stunned silence as debris scattered across the black. "He destroyed an entire capital ship," Vryn whispered. "Alone. In less than a minute." The second warship opened fire on the debris field, trying to hit Ethan. Plasma bolts lit up the void. Zalara's hands pressed against the viewport, her 4 hearts hammering different rhythms of fear and awe. "There," her tactical officer pointed. Ethan was already on the second ship. He'd used the explosion as cover, riding a chunk of hull plating like a surfboard across the gap. Now he clung to their point defense array, ripping the cannons apart with his bare hands. The Brexians tried to shake him off with evasive maneuvers. The warship rolled and spun. Ethan held on. Then he climbed. Straight up the hull toward the bridge. "What's he doing?" Zalara asked. "He's going for their command center," Vryn said. His scales had gone pale. "He's going to decapitate their leadership." The third warship moved to ram the second, trying to scrape Ethan off. He jumped at the last second, caught the edge of an observation port, and punched through the reinforced glass. The vacuum pulled 2 Vrexian officers out. Ethan pulled himself in. "Pods are ready, my queen," her guard captain reported. "We should launch now while they're distracted." No, Zalara couldn't look away. Not yet. Through the second ship's windows she saw flashes, weapon fire inside the vessel. Then the flashes stopped. The ship's engines went dark. It began to drift. 2 warships down. The third ship's commander must have realized what was happening. The vessel turned, trying to flee. Full burn away from the diplomatic ship, Ethan appeared on their hull. "How did he get there so fast?" Vryn demanded. "He jumped," the tactical officer said, checking his readings 3 times. "Across open space, 200 meters, in zero gravity. He just jumped." Ethan found an airlock and tore the door off its hinges. He disappeared inside. Zalara counted the seconds. 30, 40, 60. The third warship stopped trying to escape. Its weapons ports opened, all of them, firing randomly in every direction like a wounded animal thrashing. Then those went silent too. "My queen, we're receiving the transmission," the communications officer said. It's from the Vrexian flagship. Audio only. Play it." Static crackled. Then screaming, Vrexian voices shouting in their harsh language. "Weapons fire!" Then a wet, crunching sound. Silence. Breathing. Ethan's voice came through. Calm. Steady. "Zalara, pods are clear to launch. Head for the Thandros border. I'll catch up." "Ethan, what about you?" "I'm having a conversation with the Brexian commander. We're discussing why attacking diplomatic vessels is a bad idea." A Vrexian voice shouted something defiant in the background. There was a sound like metal being crushed. The shouting stopped abruptly. "Ethan," Zellera's voice cracked. "I'm fine. Go now. Their reinforcements will arrive in 10 minutes, and I'd rather you weren't here for that conversation." The transmission cut. "Launch the pods," Zalara ordered. Her voice felt distant, like someone else was speaking. They launched, 6 escape pods streaking away from the dying diplomatic vessel. Zalara watched the 3 Vrexian warships floating dead in space, 1 destroyed, 2 disabled. Crew complements of over 1,000 each. 1 human. The pod's emergency burns would get them to Thandros space in 6 hours. Zalara sat in silence, her mind trying to process what she'd witnessed. Her gentle husband who brought her flowers, who wrote her love letters in carefully practiced Thandros script, who asked permission before every kiss. That same man had just killed hundreds, maybe thousands. My queen, Vryn said carefully. Did you know about what he was? No. Her voice was hollow. He never lied, but he never told me either. Earth's government sent us a diplomat, Vin said, but they sent us a weapon first. 4 hours into their journey, Zalara's pod received another transmission. Ethan's voice, slightly winded this time. Reinforcements arrived early. I'm heading your way. Might be a few hours late for dinner. Ethan, how many ships? 12. A pause. 11 now. Sorry, multitasking. Anyway, I borrowed a Brexian fighter. Their security is terrible. I'll see you soon. Love you. The transmission ended. Zalara looked at Vrenshen. He looked back at her. Neither spoke for a long moment. The galaxy thinks humans are weak, Viren finally said. We all read the same reports. Fragile biology, short lifespans, limited natural weapons. They wanted us to think that, Zalara realized. Earth's entire diplomatic strategy. Act harmless, integrate peacefully, make friends while hiding what they really are. Zalara thought about humanity's rapid acceptance into galactic society, how eager every empire had been to welcome them, how Earth had been invited to peace summits, trade negotiations, cultural exchanges. Everyone wanted human allies. No one had asked the right questions, like why a species that had only achieved faster than light travel 30 years ago had immediately begun sending diplomats instead of explorers, or why those diplomats were all young, fit, and moved with such careful control, or why Earth maintained only a small defensive fleet but insisted on stationing human advisors on allied worlds. Advisors like Ethan. How many humans are out here? Zalara asked quietly. In the galaxy, serving as diplomats, cultural attachés, trade representatives. Vreen checked his data pad. His expression went very still. Thousands. On every major world, in every empire, the Thandros Council alone has 43 human staff members, and if someone attacked Earth, they both understood. Thousands of humans, all trained like Ethan, all hiding in plain sight, all positioned in the halls of power across known space. Earth hadn't joined the galactic community seeking protection. They'd infiltrated it. Zalara's pod landed on Thandros Prime 8 hours later. Medical teams rushed forward. Diplomats swarmed. Her father, Emperor Crane, waited at the landing platform with the full Imperial Guard. My daughter, he said, embracing her carefully. We received your distress signal. The Vrexian attack has been condemned by the Galactic Council. They will face... Where's Ethan? Zalara interrupted. Her father's expression shifted. Uncomfortable. The human is being detained for questioning. The Council wants to understand what happened out there. The reports we're receiving are... concerning. Detained? Zalara pulled back. He saved my life. He saved all of us. He also destroyed 3 warships and killed over 4,000 Vrexian soldiers. Her father's voice dropped. Zalara, the footage from your ship's sensors has been reviewed. What he did wasn't self-defense. It was extermination. The galaxy is asking questions about Earth, about their true capabilities, about what else they've been hiding. Zalara's blood went cold. You can't imprison him. He's my husband. He's a registered diplomat. And those credentials may have been falsified. Her father gestured toward the palace. "Come, we have much to discuss." The council chamber was packed. Representatives from 20 different species. The atmosphere felt charged, dangerous. Zelora took her seat beside her father, while Viren provided testimony about the attack. The human displayed physical capabilities far beyond reported norms, Viren said carefully. Strength approximately 50 times human baseline. Reaction speed that suggests enhanced neurology. Possible genetic modification? Or cybernetic augmentation? Or, said Counselor Thex, a Crinian weapons expert, Earth has been lying about their species' capabilities from the beginning. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. We should have questioned it earlier, Thex continued. A species goes from primitive chemical rockets to faster-than-light travel in barely a century. They claim it was collaborative effort with our shared technology. But what if they already had the capability? What if they've been far more advanced than they pretended? That's speculation, Solara said, not evidence. Then explain what your husband did, another counselor demanded. Explain how one unarmed human defeated multiple warships. Explain why Earth has conveniently placed thousands of these diplomats throughout our governments. They're called attachés and advisors, Zalara said. It's standard diplomatic practice. Or it's an occupation force waiting for activation. The chamber erupted in argument. Zalara felt the weight of it. Fear. The galaxy's most powerful empires were realizing they might not be the apex predators they'd thought, and fear made people dangerous. Enough. Emperor Crane's voice silenced the room. We will hear from the human himself. Bring him in. Guards escorted Ethan through the main doors. He wore simple clothes, no restraints. He didn't need them. Everyone in the room had seen the footage. They knew chains wouldn't hold him. He looked tired. That was all. Just tired. Ethan Cole of Earth, Emperor Crane said formally. You stand before the Thandros Imperial Council to answer for your actions during the Vrexian attack. How do you plead? Plead, Ethan's voice carried clearly. I didn't commit a crime. I defended my wife and her crew from an unprovoked attack. Using capabilities you concealed from this council and from your wife, Thex said. You lied about what you are. I never lied. Ethan met the counselor's eyes. I'm exactly what my credentials say, a diplomatic attaché, cultural liaison. I've performed those duties faithfully for 3 years, while hiding that you're also a trained killer. Yes, no hesitation, no shame. Earth doesn't send untrained civilians into deep space. We learned that lesson the hard way. Explain, Emperor Crane commanded. Ethan was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke. 70 years ago, Earth detected the first extraterrestrial signal. We were excited, hopeful. We sent our best scientists and diplomats on a first contact mission, unarmed, peaceful, trusting. The chamber went silent. The Krynoth Empire captured them, studied them, dissected them to understand human biology. Then they sent the pieces back with a message. Stay in your system or be exterminated. Counselor Thex's scales paled. The Krynoth Empire had fallen decades ago, destroyed in a war with the Vrexians, but everyone knew their reputation. We stayed quiet for 20 years, Ethan continued. We built ships, trained soldiers, prepared. When we finally came back to galactic space, we made a choice. We'd be diplomats, peacemakers. We'd integrate peacefully and make genuine friends, but we'd never be helpless again. So you lied about your capabilities, Thex said. We controlled the narrative, Ethan corrected. We shared what we wanted to share, kept private what we needed to keep private, like every other species in this room does with their military capabilities. Murmurs of grudging agreement. The difference, Emperor Crane said slowly, is that we didn't plant thousands of hidden weapons in each other's governments. No, Ethan agreed. You just invited them in. Every human diplomat submitted full background checks, passed your security screenings. We didn't infiltrate. You welcomed us. The truth of it hung in the air. Earth had been honest about their qualifications. Highly trained, extensively educated, physically fit, the galaxy had simply assumed that meant good at paperwork and protocol. They'd never asked what kind of training, what kind of education. So what now? Zalara asked. The galaxy knows. What happens to Earth's diplomatic corps? Ethan looked at her. His expression softened. That depends on this council and on you. Me? You're my wife. The Vrexians attacked you to provoke a war between Thandros and their empire. I stopped that. But if this council decides Earth is a threat, if they demand we recall our people, we'll comply. We'll leave peacefully. And then? Emperor Crane asked. And then you'll be on your own when the next threat comes, because there's always a next threat. The Vrexians, the Krynoth remnants, the things lurking in the dark beyond charted space. Earth's diplomats aren't just here to serve tea and file reports. We're here because we believe in the alliance, in cooperation, in having each other's backs when things go bad. Backed by the threat of violence? Dex said. Backed by the promise of protection, Ethan countered. You can have allies who smile and lie and stab you in the back when convenient, or you can have allies who are honest about being dangerous, but choose to stand with you anyway. Earth chose option 2. Ethan stood slowly, kept his distance, like he was afraid she'd bolt if he moved too fast. I'm sorry, he said, for all of it, for not telling you, for what you saw on that ship, for putting you in this position. Zalara crossed her arms. Her scales rippled with conflicting emotions. Tell me the truth, all of it. No diplomat answers. No carefully worded half-truths. I need to know who I married. Okay. Ethan sat back down, gestured to the bench beside him. Zalara stayed standing. He nodded like he expected that. My name is Ethan Cole. That part's real. I'm 32. Grew up in Colorado. Joined Earth Defense Force at 18. Why? Because I was good at it. Tested off the charts for spatial awareness, reaction time, strategic thinking. They put me through enhancement programs, genetic optimization, neural augmentation, made me stronger, faster, more durable. I wasn't special. Thousands of us went through the same training. Thousands of weapons, Zalara said. Thousands of protectors, Ethan corrected. Earth learned the hard way that the galaxy isn't safe. We built a military that could defend us, but we also knew we couldn't survive alone. We needed allies, real ones. So we created the diplomatic corps. Soldiers trained to build bridges instead of burn them. Did you volunteer for this assignment? No. I was assigned to Thandros 3 years ago, cultural attaché. My mission was to observe, report, assist where appropriate, build goodwill. He looked up at her. Falling for you wasn't in the briefing. When did it happen? The 3rd summit meeting. You were arguing with the Crinian ambassador about trade routes. You destroyed his position with facts and logic, but you were still kind about it. Didn't humiliate him. Just won decisively and moved on. I thought that was the most attractive thing I'd ever seen. Zalara felt something crack in her chest. She remembered that meeting, remembered noticing the quiet human diplomat watching her, how his smile had made her nervous in a good way. Why didn't you tell me? She asked. Before we married, before I said yes. Why keep it secret? Because I wanted normal. Ethan's voice broke slightly. I've spent 14 years being a weapon, following orders, fighting wars. When I met you for the first time since I was 18, someone looked at me and didn't see a soldier. You saw a person. I was selfish. I wanted to keep that. Selfish is hiding what kind of food you like, Zalara said. This is lying about your entire identity. I know. You're right. I was wrong. He stood again, moved closer, but stopped several feet away. But Zalara, everything else was real. Every conversation, every moment. I love you. That's not strategy or deception. It's just true. How do I know? Her voice cracked. How do I know any of it's real when you're trained to manipulate, to build relationships as tactical assets? You don't, Ethan said simply. You have to choose to trust me, or choose not to. I can't prove love. I can only live it. Zalara felt tears starting. She fought them back. The man I married wouldn't have killed 4,000 people without hesitation. Yes, he would have. Ethan's voice went hard. If those 4,000 were trying to kill you, Zalara, I would burn down the entire Vrexian Empire to keep you safe. I'd fight the whole galaxy if I had to. That's not the soldier talking. That's your husband. I don't want a husband who'd commit genocide for me. Then you don't want me. Ethan stepped back. Because I can't separate those parts. I'm not two different people. I'm one person who loves you and who has the training and capability to protect you. Both are true at the same time. Zalara wiped her eyes. The Council wants answers about Earth's true capabilities. Military strength. Long-term plans. They're considering forcing disclosure. Earth won't respond well to force, Ethan said carefully. We've made that mistake before. Ask nicely, and we'll share what we can. Threaten us, and we'll fortify. It's instinct at this point. So what should I tell them? The truth. Earth has approximately 50,000 enhanced soldiers like me, another 2 million conventional military personnel, a defensive fleet designed for system protection, not conquest. Advanced weapons technology we've kept classified for security reasons, and a standing policy that will defend our allies as fiercely as we defend ourselves. 50,000 like you, Zalara repeated. The number felt surreal. Scattered across the galaxy. Mostly. Some on Earth, some on colony worlds. But yes, we're out here, living lives, doing jobs, being part of the community, until something goes wrong, and then you become this. And then we do what's necessary. Ethan met her eyes. I won't apologize for being capable of violence. The galaxy is dangerous. Being able to fight doesn't make someone evil. Choosing when and how to fight is what matters. You made that choice quickly on the ship, because Vrexians don't negotiate. They don't take prisoners. If I'd hesitated, tried to talk, tried anything else, you'd be dead. Your crew would be dead. Sometimes the right choice is also the violent choice. I hate that, but it's true. Zalara sat down finally. The bench felt cold. My father thinks you married me as part of a mission to gain access to the Imperial family. Yeah, I figured he'd think that. Ethan sat beside her, still keeping distance. Honestly, marrying you made my job harder. Earth's government wanted me to stay neutral, unattached, free to relocate if needed. Instead, I tied myself to the Thandros Empire, limited my operational flexibility, made myself vulnerable. Vulnerable how? Because now I have something to lose. He looked at his hands. Before you, I was just a soldier, expendable. If a mission required sacrifice, I'd make it without hesitation. But now every risk calculation includes you. What happens to you if I die? What happens to you if I fail? You're my weakness, Zilara. Tactically speaking, falling in love with you was the worst decision I could have made. But you made it anyway? But I made it anyway. He smiled slightly. Because some things matter more than tactics. You matter more. Zilara felt herself softening. She hated it, wanted to stay angry, stay hurt. But this was still Ethan. Still the man who learned to cook Thandros cuisine because he knew she got homesick, who read poetry in her language even though the syntax confused him, who held her hand under the table during boring council meetings. I don't know how to do this, she admitted. How to be married to someone who scares me. I scare you? Yes. She turned to face him fully. You terrify me, not because I think you'll hurt me, because I saw what you're capable of, and I realized I don't really know you. The man I married wouldn't have that much violence in him. Couldn't have. But you do. It's part of you. And I don't know how to reconcile those pieces. Ethan was quiet for a long moment. My squad leader during training told me something. He said the capacity for violence doesn't make you violent. It makes you dangerous. What you choose to do with that danger determines who you are. I choose to use it to protect, to defend, to stop people who hurt the innocent. That's who I am. Bye. And if I can't accept that, then we end this. His voice went hollow. I'll resign my position. Request transfer back to Earth. File for dissolution of marriage. You deserve a partner you trust completely. If I'm not that person, I'd rather lose you than have you live in fear. Zilara looked at him, really looked, past the soldier, past the violence, down to the core of who Ethan was. She saw the same thing she'd seen 3 years ago, a man trying to do good in a complicated universe, trying to build instead of destroy, carrying weight he never asked for but accepted anyway. No, she said quietly. No, no. I don't want dissolution. I want time, space to process this. But I don't want to lose you. She took his hand. His fingers trembled slightly. You're right. You should have told me, but I should have asked better questions. Should have wondered why Earth sent their best people so far from home. We both made mistakes. Ethan's shoulders sagged with relief. So where does that leave us? Honest with each other. Finally, she squeezed his hand. No more secrets. You tell me everything. I mean it. Your past missions, your capabilities, what Earth is really planning long term. All of it. Okay? I can do that, and I'll tell the Council the truth. Earth has powerful allies scattered across the galaxy, allies who chose to stand with us instead of against us. That's worth more than perfect trust. You think they'll accept that? Some will, some won't, but my father will listen. And his voice carries weight. Zilara stood, pulling Ethan up with her. Come on, we have work to do. They left the cell together. Bryn waited outside, his weapon lowered but ready. He relaxed when he saw them holding hands. Everything okay? He asked. Getting there, Zilara said. Call an emergency council session. Full assembly. Ethan's going to answer their questions. 2 hours later, the council chamber was packed again, but the atmosphere had shifted. Zilara stood beside Ethan at the center platform. Her father watched from the imperial seat, expression unreadable. Counselors, Ethan began. I'm here to offer transparency. Earth's government has authorized me to disclose classified information in the interest of maintaining our alliance. Ask your questions. I'll answer what I can. The questions came fast. Military strength, technology levels, defensive capabilities. Ethan answered each one clearly. No deflection, no diplomatic doublespeak, just facts. Why hide this? Thex asked finally. Why pretend to be weaker than you are? Because strong people get challenged, Ethan said. Earth learned that when we first reached for the stars, we were attacked immediately, killed for being curious. We came back stronger, but we remembered the lesson. Appearing harmless keeps us safe while we build genuine relationships. Then, when danger comes, we're positioned to help or to conquer, Thex said. We could have done that already, Ethan replied calmly. Think about it. 50,000 soldiers like me, embedded in your governments, your militaries, your infrastructure. If Earth wanted conquest, we'd already have it. Instead, we file reports and attend meetings and help negotiate trade agreements because we actually want what we said we want. Partnership, proven by one human destroying 3 warships to save Thandros' lives, Merrick said. I call that partnership. Murmurs of agreement spread through the chamber. Emperor Crane stood. The Imperial throne recognizes Earth's honesty today. While we wish it had come sooner, we acknowledge the difficult position they faced. The Thandros Empire will maintain its alliance with Earth. Furthermore, we propose new protocols, full disclosure of enhanced personnel, joint training exercises, integrated defense planning. If we're to be true allies, we do it properly. Seconded, Friend said. Thirded, Merrick's added. The vote passed. Not unanimously. Thex and several others abstained. But it passed. Zalara felt tension drain from her body. They'd done it, navigated the crisis without fracturing the alliance. Over the next weeks, things settled into a new normal. Earth began sharing technology. Thandros opened military facilities for joint operations. Other empires followed suit, cautiously but genuinely. Ethan moved back into their quarters. They didn't share a bed yet. Zelada needed time. He understood, gave her space while staying close enough to talk. One night, 3 weeks after the council session, Zalara found him on their balcony. He was doing exercises, push-ups with one hand, making it look easy. Show off, she said. He grinned, stopped. Couldn't sleep. Me neither. She joined him at the railing. The city lights spread below them. I've been thinking. Dangerous activity. She elbowed him. I've been thinking about what you said, about being one person, not 2 separate versions. I think I get it now. Yeah? You're like the Empire. We present ourselves as civilized, cultured, diplomatic. But we have an army, weapons, the capacity for war. Both things are true. Being capable of violence while choosing peace. That's not deception. It's responsibility. Ethan looked at her. That's exactly it. You understand? I'm trying to. She leaned against him, felt him tense with surprise, then relax. I'm still scared sometimes when I remember what you can do, but I'm also grateful you saved my life, saved hundreds of lives. That matters more than my fear. I'll never hurt you, he said softly. That's the one promise I can make absolutely. I know. She did know. Finally, I love you. The whole you. Soldier and diplomat. Dangerous and gentle. All of it. He kissed her then, slow and careful. Like their first kiss in the garden. Like every kiss since. Nothing had changed except her understanding. Everything had changed because of her understanding. They stood together watching the city. 2 people from different worlds, different species, different capabilities, choosing each other anyway. The galaxy's going to keep being dangerous, Zalara said. Probably. Good thing I married someone who can handle it. Ethan laughed. Good thing I married someone brave enough to face it with me. Below them, Thandros Prime sparkled with life. Above them, stars stretched endless. Somewhere out there, other human diplomats were living similar lives, protecting, serving, being ready. Earth had sent the galaxy exactly what it needed, not conquerors, not saviors, just people willing to stand in the gap when darkness came, willing to be dangerous so others could be safe. Humanity, fuck yeah, the end.